bad breath issues. Move the device.
Yeah, thank you. You all right? There you go. Okay, well-packed house. Will, you ready to go?
We're all set.
All right, good morning. My name is Paul Wiedefeld. I'm the chairman of the Maryland Transportation Authority Board. I hereby call the meeting of the MDTA Board in order at 9:01 a.m. We're having our meeting in person at MDTA headquarters, and in accordance with live streaming law, this meeting is being live streamed on the MDTA Board webpage. I'd like to say welcome to the members and staff who are with us today. And for the record, I would like to state that the member Lee Gaines and member Cynthia Penny Ardinger are joining us today via conference call. As a reminder, I ask that anyone who is in the room with us this morning to refrain from speaking unless you're presenting or answering a question to avoid background noise on the live stream. There are no members of the public, no elected officials, and no media who have pre-registered to comment at this morning's meeting, correct? Okay. However, Ms. Dawn Stower and some other members of the staff will be in attendance and will be receiving the board resolution today in today's meeting. For those who are watching this meeting via the live stream, we have posted the materials for today's meeting on the MDTA board webpage so that you can follow along if you would like. Before we begin with today's agenda, I would like to say a special welcome to some of our special guests that are in the room with us this morning. Those of you who are in the room may have noticed we have several young ladies and gentlemen with us this morning. This is because their parents or grandparents work at MDTA, and they are here to participate in today's Bring Your Child to Work Day program. So welcome to all of you, and I hope you enjoy today's events. And the best part of today is that you're here. You're out of school. That's why it's fun. So we'll now turn to today's agenda. Agenda item number 1 is the approval of the open session meeting minutes of March 30th, 2023.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay, motion's approved. Second item is a resolution of years of service recognition. Will?
Apologize. I had an error here on my computer. Okay, this item is to provide a recognition of years of service to Dawn Stour. Whereas Ms. Dawn M. Stour began her career with the Maryland Transportation Authority as a Police Communications Officer 1 on October 9th, 1985, and whereas Ms. Stour continued to progress in the communications field and was promoted to a Police Communications Officer 2 on October 9th, 1987, to MDTA Telecommunicator 2 on April 19th, 1989, to MDTA Telecommunicator Supervisor 1 on June 8th, 1994, and to MDTA Telecommunicator Supervisor 2 on June 21st, 2006. And whereas she continued to build on her knowledge and skills, and Ms. Stour was promoted to MDTA Administrator 5, Director of Police Communications on August 1st, 2009, a position held until retirement. And whereas she is an invaluable member of the team, her coworkers expressed the fact that her dedication, leadership, and teamwork will be missed. Now therefore be it resolved, on the occasion of Dawn Stour's retirement from her distinguished career of exemplary service, the chairman and the members of the Maryland Transportation Authority Board hereby express to Ms. Stour their most sincere appreciation for her excellence and commitment, and be it further resolved that this resolution be entered into the minutes and the MDTA board meeting of April 27th, 2023, and a copy appropriately framed be presented to Ms. Stour as an expression of the MDTA board's appreciation and esteem. We'd like to now invite Ms. Stour up to the front to get a photograph with the board. You want to take it and go in the middle?
Give her her resolution too.
Okay, we ready? I'm going to take two. Ready? Here's the first one. I'm going to take one more.
Any other? Is you good? Okay. All right, agenda item number 3, the approval of a contract award. Donna?
Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone. Donna DeCervo, Director of Procurement for the board. For the record, we only have one contract today, so I won't take up much of your time. It is page 3030 for the I-95 Express tolling northbound extension, southbound I-95 noise wall at Maryland 24 Woodsdale. The scope of the work includes constructing a noise barrier along the I-95 south ramp to Maryland 24 westbound for approximately 0.44 miles. The noise barrier is needed to attenuate the noise coming from vehicular traffic on the existing and planned future expansion of I-95. We advertised this contract on December 27th of 2022. We received 4 bids. We are recommending award to Alan Myers, MD, Inc. of Maryland in the amount of $6,485,000. There was an MBE goal of 23%. Alan Myers is exceeding that goal of 23.07%. There's a VSB goal of 2%, and they are meeting that goal. There was no bid justification because they were within 10% of our engineer's estimate, and there was no protest received on this IFB.
All right. Do you hear a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you, Don. The 4th agenda item is a new section, Section 200 of I-95 Express toll lane, northbound and I-695 ramps. Carl?
Hey, everybody.
Hi, good morning.
So as a reminder, I am Carl Chamberlain. I am a project manager in the Division of Planning and Program Development, and I am leading the toll setting process for this project. So what I'm going to do is, you'll see the agenda on page 1, so I'm going to be leading us through this agenda. Really what I'm going to do is, the most important part of this agenda is walking us through the public comment summary report from the toll setting public hearings that we held and the public comment process that just closed a couple weeks ago. So that's going to be the most, sort of the biggest part of my presentation, but we're also going to, be having an approval item at the end, so I'll walk through, and then Will, I can throw it to you at the end, just for that last approval item for example. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be flipping through the report as we go, just to kind of sort of walk you guys through while I talk. So page 2, the purpose of the presentation. So as I mentioned, the purpose of the presentation is to walk through the public comment summary report. For that first public comment period for the project, in addition, we'll be asking for approval to move forward with the final recommendation for the proposal, as well as opening up the second public comment period. So you remember from when I introduced this project, we have one sort of larger public comment period, we review that information, we come back with a final proposal, open up a second public comment period to collect additional comments on that sort of final recommendation together. As a reminder today, we will not be voting on a final proposal. Again, just voting to move forward with that next step of the process. As a reminder, I have attached the public comment summary report to this board book in full. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip through the report as I walk through the information. If you have any questions, again, feel free to ask for additional detail as I go. I'm going to be kind of sort of skimming through the report. Again, there's a good number of pages, but not a ton of information in here because we had sort of low turnout for the meetings. Again, you guys were all at the public hearing, so you're probably aware of that. So anyway, again, I'll flip through. If you have any questions as I go through, you want me to dig into anything deeper as we go ahead, again, feel free to stop me, and I can again, go into that additional detail, or you can wait till the end, and I can do it at the end of the report. So the first couple pages is just, first page is the title page. Page 2 is an executive summary, again, because I'm going to be going through every page. I'm not going to walk through the executive summary. Table of contents, again, we're just going to skip right over. And we're really going to start on page 4. So page 4 provides an overview of the proposal that was open for public comment. So really everything that was sort of important as part of that proposal is in that table, as well as the footnotes that are part of that table. So those are the toll rate ranges that we're proposing. And as a reminder, those toll rate ranges are the same ranges that we're using for the current Section 100 part of the facility. So for the next page, the public comment period began on January 26, 2023, closed on April 13th, 2023. We held 2 in-person public hearings and 1 virtual public hearing. We did those between February 27th and March 6th. The in-person public hearings were conducted in Baltimore and Harford County, as those are the 2 counties that are affected by the proposal. Moving on to page 5, which is actually where we already were, so I'm going to stay on page 5 actually. After we talk about the public hearings themselves, we do have some information here that describes our efforts to market and outreach these hearings as well. We do want to make sure that we provide as many different avenues for commenting. We want to make sure that we get the word out the best that we can. And we also want to make sure that we reach out to underserved populations the best that we can as well. So really that next section on page 5 just kind of goes through our outreach efforts and the ways in which we venture to again, reach out to as many people as possible to try to get as much public feedback as possible. When it comes to these toll setting processes, again, a lot of you board members have been part of these a number of times in the past. They are sort of lengthy processes, a good number of resources on our side, so we do want to get as much input as we possibly can. It really helps us craft a better proposal when we get to the end of the process. Page 6 describes the different submission methods. Again, we try to have as many different avenues as possible. So we have the easiest one is our public comment form that we have online, but we allow people to mail comment forms in. So we have a PDF on the website that they can download to mail into us. Of course, when we're there in person, people can speak in person if they want, but also if they just want to fill out a comment form, when they come, they don't want to speak in front of the board, there's the ability to do that as well. So again, try to provide as many different avenues as possible. Again, we really do want to hear from the public on these proposals. Moving on to page 7, and actually 7 through 9, one of the things that we do when we're collecting data and we're collecting the public comments is we kind of want to hear as well about the people that are commenting. How do they use our system? How often do they use our system? We try to dig into some of that data. I think it's just sort of instructive and sort of I think it helps the board members understand who are the people that are coming out and really commenting on this proposal. Again, I'm not going to go through all that data. So I'm going to go on to page 10. Page 10 provides a summary of the comments that we received, and I think what's important here, again, we have the data that's in here. We have some, the thing that we try to do is break it into sort of themes. So if we hear one theme from like 10 different commenters, we try to like categorize those all together to help present you guys information on like what is like the overall type of messages that we're receiving on these proposals. But I think the thing that I think is sort of more important than the individual themes, individual comments that we heard is again, we didn't get a lot of turnout at the meetings themselves. This carried over to the public comment period as a whole, so we didn't get a whole lot of feedback. As you can see, I think there were 36 total written comments. And even when we've done other tool settings in the past, I think like, for instance, toll monetization, again, that was another one that wasn't necessarily really controversial. But even in that one, we got more feedback and heard different things on that one. So I think really the thing that's more probably instructive from the data that we received on this one is just that it was sort of low turnout, and I think that is indicative of the fact that we weren't planning to raise any toll rates necessarily. We're just extending toll rates that already exist. It's on a facility that I think is generally pretty popular and has been very successful for the authority and for the public. hearings. So I think that's probably the thing that's more instructive from a public comment perspective than, again, some of the individual comments that we got.
Chairman.
Absolutely.
I just pointed out, just the hearing in Joppatown, Councilman Guthrie was there
Yep.
before the hearing and after the hearing. He commented, obviously trying to get people to come to the hearing, but afterward, he commented at the dais during the next council meeting how well presentation was and thanked the authority.
Excellent. I appreciate that. And also I want to say, again, thank you to the board members as well for, your attendance at the hearings. Again, I think they were really successful, even though, again, we didn't get a lot of turnout. I think they were run really well. And again, I think, we all had a good time hanging out, talking to each other. So what I'm going to do is just move on. Page 11. It just talks about sort of just the end of the report, just cleaning up some records management. And then the next ones I'm going to skip through pretty quickly. So Appendix A is just really a more detailed memo on our public outreach efforts. So again, I summarized it in the report, but we have a full memo with tables and everything to show all of the places that we tried to do outreach to, bring flyers, information, things like that, to, again, really try to get the message out in those communities. Appendix B is just a copy of the comment form, for record-keeping purposes. And then Appendix C, the other thing that we tried to do, and so this is my third time, I think, leading a tool setting process, and for each one of them, we've just, made the decision from a transparency perspective just to post all the comments. There isn't a necessarily requirement to do that, but certainly they could be requested. And so from our perspective, it's pretty straightforward and easy enough to just provide all the comments right here in the report, put them online if anybody wants to go through them. Again, we did that for op lanes, and we had a lot of comments when we did the op lanes tool setting process. So again, we see no reason not to post all that information for people to review and go through. So that appendix just, again, breaks down every single comment that we got. All right, and with that, I'm going to move on to part 3 of my agenda, and this is the recommended action. So, MDTA staff proposes, after analyzing the comments received by the public, that the recommended action remain unchanged from the proposal that was presented during the public hearings. In addition, the details of that proposal, again from a record-keeping perspective, are provided in this board book, but as a reminder, that information is all the same that was presented in the previous board book before we went out to those public hearings. So you'll see page 3 and page 4 are just the details of that proposal. Again, a straight copy and paste of that information. We don't plan to change anything in the recommended action to move into the second public comment period. The next part is just a schedule. So that first public comment period ended a couple weeks ago, and we're, if approved today, we would plan on opening the second public comment period today. Again, if opened today, then we would close it on May 11th. Come back to you at the May board meeting to present to you the second round of public comments that we received during that second public comment period. And then at that point in May is when we would put the final proposal on the table, come back to you in June for the final vote. So that's the upcoming schedule that we plan to go through for this project. And lastly, I have my approval item. Will, do you want me to read this? Do you want to go through? It's up to you.
Oh, no, I can take it. That's
Sure, go right ahead.
So again, good morning, Chairman and members of the board. For the record, my name is Will Pines, Executive Director for the MDTA. And I want to start by thanking the team and the board for all of the great work that went into the original proposal and all of the meetings that got us to this point. Many times it's pretty well understood that those who view your actions as favorable don't typically speak up. We hear from those who are unhappy, but often don't hear from the happy citizens. And I think that's what we think we're seeing here, that the low turnout, even though we did have good earned media, where the media came to our events, had some live television, did some interviews, it had a virtual option, had 2 separate in-person events, lots of push out to try to get people to turn out, and still had really low turnout, which we think is a reflection that most folks that use the ETLs today view them very favorably, and that's a reflection of the fact that we see more use of the facility than was even forecasted when it was originally put out there. So very popular, and we think that the proposal that matches the existing toll rates make a lot of sense. So as Carl mentioned, MDTA staff is requesting to move forward to continue with the toll rate range setting process with the final recommended proposal, which, as he noted, was unchanged from the prior presentation. And this approval will allow us to advertise the recommended action for the second comment period. So with that.
Good, good. Do I hear a motion for approval? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, approval has it. Move forward with the next. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Board.
All right, agenda item number 5, an update on legislative session.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. I'm Brad Ryan, Manager of Government Relations, and I'm joined by James Kettleman, Assistant Manager. We are here to provide a brief recap of the 2023 session of the Maryland General Assembly, which adjourned on April the 10th. Throughout this year's session, James and I have monitored a multitude of bills and developed close relationships with delegates, staff, senators, and their staff. We will now brief you on the bills previously discussed that specifically impact the MDTA. I will now turn it over to James, who will provide a recap of the bills that we had presented before.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. So first off, we're going to start out with House Bill 74 on its cross files, Senate Bill 412, the Maryland Rail Investment Act, which would create a Maryland Rail Authority that would be funded by optimal tolling of MDTA's facilities. Bill hearings were held in both chambers, but no further action was taken. Senate Bill 682, which would require the MDTA to install safety barriers on the Bay Bridge, did not move after its hearing date on March 8th. House Bill 659, which would require a study on the impacts of vehicles with 3 or more axles using the contraflow lane on the Bay Bridge, was voted unfavorably by the Motor Vehicle and Transportation Subcommittee. And then finally, House Bill 820, which would require the MDTA to place 4 real-time speed monitors in each direction on the ICC in Montgomery County and increase enforcement of speed violations on the ICC, passed the House, but the Senate did not move forward with it. Additionally, the approved budget contains report language that will impact the MDTA. The MDTA must submit a joint chairman's report examining the issue of travelers accessing the Port of Baltimore via I-695 without crossing the Key Bridge to determine if tolls currently being assessed are appropriate. This report is due to the legislature on December 1st, 2023. Additionally, the MDTA and other state agencies are required to submit credit rating reports to the State Treasurer's Office prior to bond sale. The State Treasurer's Office will then provide these reports to the legislator. Although session is over, our work is not over. We will continue to work with members of the General Assembly, other state officials, and local officials to keep them up to date with what is going on at the MDTA, such as sending out major significant press releases regarding projects, job fairs, and other important updates. Furthermore, Brad and I will continue to field questions and inquiries from elected officials and ensure that matters are being resolved within a timely manner. And with that, thank you so much for your time, and we would be happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments? I think it was an overall good session. I mean, Will and your team did a really good job. These issues get complicated, and I think you need to educate people about them, and so I think you did a very good job, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank the team. We had a lot of, even though in the end a lot of these bills didn't end up moving forward, it takes a lot of work to even get to that point for the ones that don't move forward. And so I want to thank particularly Brad, James, and Mary for all their great work, but also our finance, legal, operations, comms, police, and procurement team for all of the input that they provided, because there were even more bills that may not have been exactly an MDTA related bill, but had some impact on us, and they provided input all along the way, really helpful, and want to thank them for their great work.
Thank you, sir. And if I can go off script, I'll just echo Will's remarks. It's a team effort.
Yeah. And thank you for working with Pilar in Secretary's office, because
Yes, sir.
managed it. The whole team, I think, is very well. Thank you.
They're all great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, agenda item number 6, update. Will?
Okay, well, thank you, Chairman. So I'm going to go through a lot of different items here. And yesterday, we held a bicycle system informational open house at the Nice Middleton Bridge. The purpose of the open house was to inform motorists and bicyclists about the bicycle lane sharing features that we invested in on the new bridge, as well as to solicit comments about bicycle access on the new Nice Middleton Bridge, to include safe hours and days of operation. 16 people attended that open house last night, including George Clark from the Tri-County Council of Southern Maryland and Stacy King from MDOT's Office of Planning and Capital Programming, and they staffed a table with the commuter choice information. As of yesterday, we've received 19 comments that have been submitted online in advance of the meeting, and several attendees at last night's event filled out comment forms. The informational open house materials and comment form remain available at the nicemiddletonbridge.com website, and the comment period will close at 5 p.m. Wednesday, May 10th. Following the comment period, we will review and consider the public input prior to finalizing and implementing the bicycle lane sharing features on the bridge. Last week, we started sending out our spring Easy Pass email to approximately 1 million customers with 4 key tips for keeping their accounts in full bloom. We included information about our new Drive Easy MD app. And so if you haven't yet downloaded the app to manage your account, that's available. You can download it on Google Play or through the iPhone App Store. And how to sign up for it was provided to our customers. Subscribers to the app can manage and update their EasyPass account from their smartphones. Features of the app include being able to check your account balances, view toll and payment transactions, request transponders, update payment details, add remove vehicles, and enroll in an automatic account replenishment. We also included information on how customers can replace or swap out their old transponders for a new one. Our transponder replacement or swap program has EasyPass customers who have aged transponders, those beige ones that you have mounted. We're working to send them new ones in the mail so that we'll replace them so that they don't have to reach out to us. We do provide advisories to customers that if they are experiencing eye tolls but have their transponder mounted, to reach out to us because it's possible it could be defective or aged out. Not everyone realizes it has a battery inside of it and it will eventually die. So, but when we know from normal aging when they die, so we replace them proactively and are doing that via the mail now. We're sending the new replacement transponders with mounting strips and instructions and directions on how to dispose of the old transponder. We also continue to inform EasyPass customers on how to avoid image tolls or eye tolls by reminding them of the importance of properly mounting the transponder so it can be read. By not having a properly mounted transponder, EasyPass customers can run the risk of being charged an eye toll rate or not receiving the benefit of a discount plan. Reducing vacancies and improving employee retention is a priority for our chairman and Governor Moore's entire administration. And so to take advantage of every opportunity we can, we also included in that spring blast a "We are hiring" message, and that included links to our current openings that also went out to all of those EasyPass customers. Staying for a moment on the topic of vacancies, I wanted to share with the board that this past Tuesday, we held a hiring event for our central region for our highway maintenance workers. The event was held between 1 and 6 p.m. and took place at the Fort McHenry Tunnel Maintenance Building. It was a very successful event. We had 83 interviews that passed to the next stage, 80 of them scheduled for their pre-placement physicals, where they actually go get checked to be able to work the job, and 34 of them were fingerprinted on site, and the others will visit alternative sites for fingerprinting. Hiring new personnel is an important element toward reaching our goal of reducing vacancies, but retaining employees is just as important, and we want our employees to stay working at the MDTA. So we provide them with tools they need to not only succeed in their positions, but also to advance in their careers. And recently, our Office of Human Resources and Workforce Development hosted a 2-day career readiness workshop to help employees identify professional goals and gain new skills for achieving them. It was open to all employees. 10 employees participated, and the topics included career exploration and goal setting, breaking down barriers for employment, job search techniques, individual career plans, application and resume assistance, and an overview of MDTA's career development program offerings. The Office of Human Resources and Workforce Development received positive feedback from the participants through a post-workshop evaluation survey, and the next workshop is anticipated for this summer. The Office of Human Resources and Workforce Development has dedicated staff committed to employee training, mentoring, professional development, leadership development, and job rotation, and through them we offer a variety of programs. There's basically something for everyone. We offer a career development program which provides tuition assistance for coursework towards college degree, professional certifications, or individual courses. We have a job rotation assignment program, which is a temporary work assignment designed to give MDTA employees experience in work environments and job duties different than their standard workday, and which encourage professional development in the employee's desired field of interest. Employees have access to our Cornerstone system, which is MDTA's online learning management system, which they can access educational courses, training programs, and learning and development programs. On May 4th, we launched our Leadership Investment for Tomorrow program, what we refer to as LIFT. The LIFT program is tailored for high-performing MDTA employees who are not yet serving in a managerial or supervisor position. And separate from those HR workforce development programs, we're also continuing our Mind of the Leader program, which launched in January of 2020. The Mind of the Leader program is centered around the book, The Mind of the Leader, and is open to any employee at MDTA that has an interest in leadership development. We've been able to sustain this program thanks in large part to Kim Millender and the other MDTA employees that give their time to serve as group leaders. And so, we have multiple layers of leadership opportunities, whether, we recently had John Sales go through the IBTTA Leadership Academy. Joey Sagal is in the Leadership Maryland program. So we have kind of the upper level leadership development. We have it at those who are aspiring to be new managers, and even those who just see themselves as leaders who want to grow. We try to have a program for leadership development at all levels. As part of our commitment to leadership development, on April 7th, the operations leadership team, led by the Chief Operating Officer, Joey Sagal, gathered to discuss implementing the power of positive leadership at the MDTA. And our very own board member, Gan Jemmy, who's a certified trainer, gave a phenomenal training session to our team. So I want to just take a moment to thank him for that. Through that program, I personally signed the Positive Pledge, and just this past week shared it with all of MDTA employees, asking them to join me in signing the Positive Pledge to be a positive influence in and for our world. We also have a leadership advance scheduled for mid-May to focus on developing a new strategic plan. MDTA's existing strategic plan and the accompanying roadmap were developed several years ago, and with a new governor bringing in a new vision for Maryland, and particularly for transportation, we believe the time is right for MDTA to develop a new strategic plan. The leadership advance will focus on two objectives: aligning the agency's operations with the vision set by the Moore-Miller administration, and providing the direction that will focus our team on delivering our core business needs. The strategic plan will be internally and externally available document one which all MDTA employees can rally around and relate back to the agency strategy. I've asked each of our chiefs and directors to work with their teams to define their one or two wildly important goals, or what's referred to as a WIG. And a WIG is an item that a division should be achieving and prioritizing ahead of the urgent whirlwind of daily work that often gets in the way of achieving those important goals. I look forward to sharing more with the board as we progress through that planning and development process on the new strategic plan. At this time, I'd like to shift gears to recognize several MDTA employees and/or divisions for their outstanding work and dedication over the last month. On April 13th, we held a hot dog day here at Point Breeze. The event was open to all employees, no matter where they worked. Joey Sagal and I worked the grill and cooked hundreds of hot dogs. And Mary, Selena, Natalie, Brad, James, and Daryl Keys set up the food line and facilitated folks through it. The day exceeded our expectations, and the line extended through the parking lot, and we had to send Brad actually on an emergency run for more buns and hot dogs. And so I just owe a big thank you to the operations for support that they provided in making the hot dog day a reality. I do want to note that events like the Hot Dog Day are made possible by Team MDTA. Team MDTA is an employee-funded committee, which means that the funds that we're using are not MDTA funds in any way. Our toll revenues are not being used to fund these events. These are employee funds. And the team hosts several fundraisers throughout the year to raise money for employee morale events like Hot Dog Day and other things. And we see this as a way to bond, way to improve retention, and to get to know each other and to do fun things together, to be more than just a place of work, but to be, frankly, a family, like things like bring your kid to work day like we're doing today. And on April 22nd was Earth Day. However, we all know that every day is Earth Day. And on April 21st, MDTA crews participated in an all-day litter blitz at the Maryland toll facilities. This enhanced our effort, and our efforts focused on doing our part to keep litter off of roadways and our surrounding landscapes. And at the end of the day, MDTA employees collected nearly 500 bags of litter from the toll roads. When I say bags, those are not like your little garbage can. We're talking the very large contractor bags full of trash. So I want to thank the hardworking team members for their dedication and commitment to keeping Maryland toll roads clear and clean all year round. And I want to thank our chairman for partnering with the legislature and keeping MDOT's anti-litter efforts at the forefront. We are keeping momentum up with our upcoming Shoreline Cleanup Day of service on May 6th. The shoreline cleanup will take place at the MDTA Police Headquarters building located at 4330 Broning Highway. Adults and children 13 and older are eligible to participate, but pre-registration is required through Eventbrite, and the registration information can be found on Twitter. I want to recognize the work of Mary, Natalie, Selena with the Maryland Charities Campaign. On behalf of MDTA. Due to their efforts, we exceeded our giving goal for last year, and this week, MDTA was recognized as a top performer in MDOT's MCC campaign. So if you have a moment, check out the award. It is sitting in the executive office on the little table just outside of Natalie's area that recognizes the amazing work that they did this year. On Tuesday, I also, in addition to the hiring event, I attended the police awards and training ceremony that honored sworn and civilian members of our MDTA police who distinguished themselves during 2022. MDTA police officers recognized at the ceremony saved lives, recovered illegal firearms, and prevented crashes by arresting impaired drivers. At the ceremony, the MDTA police honored more than 50 officers and civilians with life-saving awards, service awards, DUI enforcement awards, the Chief's commendations, and the Officer of the Year award. That's their top-level award for their officers. The 5-year member of the force, Officer Justin Inslee, was named the 2022 MDTA Officer of the Year. Assigned to the Central Command Detachment, Officer Inslee was honored for mentoring less experienced officers and excellence in DUI enforcement. During 2022, Officer Inslee removed 136 impaired drivers from our busy interstates in the Baltimore metropolitan area, like I-95, 895, and 695. And I was hearing a buzz in the audience that that might be the highest on record. I can't validate that, but apparently 136 is a really big number, so it was very impressive. Unfortunately, Officer Inslee is predisposed continuing his service duties today and wasn't able to join us, but just want to continue our recognition for his great work. And before I move on to the final recognition for the day, I wanted to announce that on May 5th, MDTA Police will also recognize Maryland's Fallen Heroes Day with a ceremony in honor of the 8 MDTA police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Colonel Anderson will provide remarks at this event, and the ceremony will begin at 11 a.m. at the MDTA Police Headquarters, and it will be live streamed. So, last but not least, finally, I'd like to recognize our Employee of the Quarter. I'm pleased to share with the board that Trina Kennedy has been selected as our Employee of the Quarter for the first quarter of 2023. Trina was nominated by Christy Metzger of our Recruitment and Examination Manager. Trina started with MDTA on September 19, 2012 as a Personnel Associate 3, and since has been promoted many times. She was promoted as a Personnel Specialist Trainee, and from there became a Recruitment Analyst 1, 2, and 3. Trina worked her way from entry-level HR employee to being the lead recruitment and examination unit analyst, where she currently serves. She provides a critical service to the MDTA employees and potential new employees by regularly adjusting her work hours to meet the needs of coworkers throughout the agency and new hires. Since 2017, Trina continuously has taken the lead on large-scale initiatives such as our jobs fairs and the FMT hiring events, which have successfully brought in many new candidates to the MDTA. And in fact, I stopped by the hiring event on Tuesday and can attest that Trina and the entire HR team were really in full gear with hiring great new talent, and we're extremely busy there. She spearheaded the creation of a new marketing campaign which uses restaurant placemats to encourage candidates to apply for work at the MDTA. So anybody who goes to diners, read your placemats, because we've got some ads in there. And Trina is dedicated to providing exemplary customer service to her peers, and through her position keeps her very busy. She never hesitates to stop what she's doing when she's asked to train a new team member. She's dedicated to the success and growth of the recruitment team through her guidance and leadership, and is always available to answer a question, review someone's work, or follow up on requests. Trina is here today, and so I'd like to invite her to come up for a photo with the board, and please help me congratulating Trina Kennedy as the recipient of this award.
We're waiting on Eric.
He's coming.
Okay.
He's not here yet, so.
I'm gonna take a picture, but we're waiting for Eric, okay? Now here it comes. One more, guys.
the real deal.
All right.
Sorry.
Here we go. Take one more.
Can Congratulations. Thank you for all your great work. So with that, it concludes my remarks, but I'm happy to take any questions you may have on those lengthy remarks.
Any questions or comments? Well, if I could, I see, hi Trina, is another HR person that's helping us. I formed a team at MDOT, basically look at a number of recruitment and retain issues that we're having. And I want to thank for your participation, your team's participation, because it's important that, as I think about the department-wide, that we're just not stealing people from one agency to another, that we're building, a culture of that, that we want to have people join us and stay with us. So you've been very active in this, so thank you very much for that. And then just one question on the strategic planning effort. Do you have a schedule on that? Have you?
So the first step is to bring everybody together. I forget the specific date. May 17th
Right.
is the date. We haven't set a date to finalize it.
Okay.
From that, we'll have the framework for what the strategic plan will be. And we've already put together an outline of some of the key areas, things like customer service, focusing on, we call them the 3 E's that we hear when we talk about the Moore Miller administration vision. It's equity, engagement, and environment. And so those will be big areas that we'll be focusing, talking about. But we have other areas. So I don't have when we'll have the final strategic plan done, but I will get you.
We're talking years, 18 months?
I
or-
think we'll have that done, but actually probably closer to the end of the year.
Okay, all right, good. Just get a sense of that. Very good. All right, any other questions or comments? Anyone? Okay, very good. If we could then move to the agenda items, actually 7, 8, and 9, which is, so we've reached the portion that is a closed session of the agenda. This closed session is scheduled for board members and designated staff. For those persons in this room and on live stream, as soon as we've completed the closed session, we'll come back to this room to ratify any actions that might be taken in closed session and continue with the remainder of the agenda in open session. We appreciate your patience. Per the Maryland Open Meetings Act, the MDTA Board will meet in closed session under the General Provisions Articles, Section 3-305B15, to discuss MDTA's cybersecurity penetration test exercise and details of the findings, including discussions regarding security assessments and deployment of information technology and network security related to detecting and investigating possible criminal activity. Also under Section 3-305B 10 and 12, to receive an update on deployment of police staff and resources and other security measures, to discuss a pending investigation proceeding involving possible criminal conduct, and under Section 305B8, to receive status update on all litigation currently pending against the MDTA. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Okay. Second. The time now is 9:48 a.m., and we will now go into closed session. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was like.
I don't, like, I usually don't do lunch and breakfast, I do lunch or
Okay, good morning. The time is 10:48 a.m., and the board has completed its closed session. There was no action taken in closed session that requires ratification. At this point, the agenda is complete. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Second.
Thank you. This is now concludes the MDTA board meeting at 10:48. Thank you so much.